comes from Africans themselves who have never had borders. I've never created borders. I cannot be responsible for borders. Decoloniality means that you do away with the things that were imposed on us by colonizers. You can't say we don't want colonizers, but you want borders. What type of an argument is that? We need a borderless Africa the same way we have a borderless Europe. We're not asking for something that is not done somewhere in the world. We need free movement of goods and persons. But those people must be documented. We say to South Africans, take IDs. How do you say to South Africans they must take IDs and then other people must not have documents?
Hey guys, as you're watching this video, our vision is to reach 500,000 subscribers. Hit the subscribe button, join membership to support our channel, and join Patreon and PayPal. All the links are in the description. Do that to stand with us for this beautiful cause of One Africa right now. We do not forget to sign up for the petition. The link is down below. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
When you want to deal with literature, you must first read, and don't read gossip columns, because you want to speak about violence and you attribute that to me. When I'm in the speech quoting what Frantz Fanon says on violence, that our conditions are a product of a violent colonial conquest. And those who want to hold to the benefits of that conquest are not going to give over those things without putting up a violence. And therefore, violence is inevitable. So when you call for the expropriation of land without compensation, it's violence against those who have the land that they got that was ill-gotten. But it's a violence that is characterized by justice. And we make a point there, which Fanon makes, that at the end of every revolutionary movement, if confronted with resistance from the oppressor, which normally is a violent resistance, you have no any other option but to opt for a violent response. It's not the first thing that was done, but was said by the EFF. It was done by the ANC, which was the most peaceful organization, surviving through writing letters to the Queen and sending delegations. And at that time when the ANC was sending delegations to the Queen, the transport system was not so advanced. So it took them 3 months to send a delegation in a ship to send a letter to the Queen, wait for the response, take another 3 months to come. And over a period of time, the ANC realized that this is not working. Let's go take up arms and fight. And that's why you are here. You are here because of the product of violence. That's what violence did. So this thing that you want to sugarcoat violence and create an impression that this was never done, this is not us. Violence and the revolution are inseparable. We are working within the Constitution of South Africa, but if meted with violence, will not hesitate to respond with violence. The Women's Command, one delegate stood up there and said, but why do we need this? Because we've got so many women in the EFF as we speak now. So what are they going to do in the Women's Command when they are actually in this conference, what, 60%, 70%? Yeah. In the structures, there is women. So what is it that we are going to do ourselves as women in the absence of men, which we can't do in the presence of men? It's a debate that will go to the commissions. They will talk about it and then we'll hear what do they think, because there is a resolution of the Second National People's Assembly to establish a women's command, if you don't take a different decision, it means that decision stands. And therefore, the new leadership will have to be seized with that thing. Do not undermine the point I make about the re-establishment of the EFF. EFF was formed twice. It was formed in 2013 and almost got killed by COVID-19. And then when conditions were normalized, we now had to come back to form the EFF. So how are we going to do that? From the EFF, from the Women's Command, from the Student Command, there was no time. We had to concentrate at the primary task, and that task was to rebuild the structures of the EFF post the COVID-19. But you know, I've observed, and I forgot to make that point yesterday, I've observed some level of opportunism. So when a person thinks we're not going to make it in the CCT, let's form a women's command. If they don't make it, let's form the youth command. Let's form student command. Now there is a call for a union. Why should it be a decision of the EFF to form a union? Because the formation of a union is a decision of the workers. I'm not a worker. I'm not going to sit here and take a decision on behalf of the workers. The workers have to take a decision on the formation of a union, and that is, if that is a legitimate, credible union, itself will say we are ideologically aligned with the EFF because it represents what we stand. I've seen a lot of people forming unions out of unemployment, especially some from the EFF. They lose positions, they go and form unions. Those unions died even before they existed because that thing of Labor Act requires a lot of things. It's not like the formation of a political party. And we hear the call that the teachers want a union, they're being dominated by SADU and all of that. What stops them from forming a union? Let them form it. The EFF is there to align with any progressive leftist political organizations, unions, and non-governmental organizations. So there is a strong opposition to, which was raised yesterday, to dissolution of student command, and that no, the youth command can come, but there must be student command. You can see that people are creating so many levels of leadership, so many fragmented structures everywhere. Having been part of forming a political party, I will not take easy decisions on forming anything. It's not an easy decision. It's not. You're going to form a women's command, and then it's going to come to you. Hey, so you must put your hand also. So the same, look at student command. We're carrying it ourselves. It can't carry itself. Then we must form another youth command and then carry it. With what? It creates unnecessary contest. What is wrong having a youth command? With one leadership, you can even put it in the constitution of the youth command that in the leadership of the youth command, there should be this category of people. There should be unemployed youth, there should be professionals, there should be rural youth, township, there should be students. And then you know, in the assignment of those things, they give each other responsibility. Since you are this, concentrate on this. But there is one center where we know we go there if there are issues. Because we're going to go there to say, no, it's not us, it's a youth command. You go to, it's not us, it's a... Remember, you are talking about these other structures at this level. They are going to have to go to the ground, provinces, regions, and branches. And the EFF itself must also go to build its own regions and branches and what and provinces. we can't overburden ourselves because there is uncontrollable political ambition from some quarters which can't wait to get their turn. To be black conscious is not a mere saying. It is what you do. It is your consciousness. It is your alignment. It is what kind of decisions you are for. So you can't be black conscious and kill people in Marigan. We're not fighting. They left the building of the employer. They left it. They left it because you will say they are disturbing the business here, they are a threat to property. They left it and went to stay on a mountain. And a black conscious leader takes guns and go and shoot them at the mountain. When they are away from the establishment's property. So the fist must fall, gets shot at. And what is even more worse, a lie that he has introduced free higher education. That he said, there was a year where he announced that from next year there's going to be free higher education, and then he left and there was nothing. He said that because he knew he was leaving anyway. It's not black consciousness to lie to black kids. It's not black consciousness. And there's nothing black consciousness about MK. Nothing. So Progressive Caucus is a name we are given to each other in Parliament for convenience sake. That if there are issues that we want to lobby, these are the first people we start with. It doesn't stop us from lobbying the DA, it doesn't stop us from lobbying the ANC or whatever, but these ones we have agreed on primary program of land expropriation without compensation, all of that and all of that. And at the center of those things was the EFF drafting those things. So a progressive organization has to be left in orientation. It has to subscribe to Marx, Lenin, even if it doesn't subscribe to Fanon, but that's fine. But as the most basic, you have to align with the progressive international left. And not just by saying in rallies. It must be in your documents. It must be in your policy that this is where we stand. You don't say we are left because you are talking to EFF. When you go to talk to DA, you're saying we must never support the unconstitutionalist. You're referring to EFF. And you can't even point which position of the EFF is unconstitutional. We're not going to answer the question about Mbuyiseni and Ndlozi. You've got his number, and some of you talk to him. Call him. I'm not responsible for Mbuyiseni and Ndlozi. 90% of the people who were here, who expected to be here, are here. That's what matters. Whoever is not here was not supposed to be here from the beginning. So you are not going to reduce this organization to some individual. We're going to refuse that. We're going to refuse that. We gave a very long political report yesterday, like 80 pages. It didn't have such names. You are intellectually so inferior that you can't even engage with that document, and then you bring gossip. We must be monitoring movements of individuals. Why concern about one person over so many people who are here? As if he is the conference. As if he's not here, conference will not happen. It's going to happen, it's happening. Without him. It's not here. I heard people say, he's here, he's doing this. He's not here. He's not here. And it's not our interest to entertain such nonsense. It's not our interest. We're dealing with political issues here, not egoism, not people who think they are bigger than this organization. It will show them once again that it's bigger than all of them. So we as a matter of principle, SG and policy position, we're no longer going to answer any nonsense about Mbuyiseni and Ndlozi. Never. When a journalist asks you that question, you must say, ask another question. You can be smarter than that. Ask something else. This matter is closed. You can talk about it amongst yourselves, but don't bring it to us. We are refusing that. Don't do that. Don't reduce the whole ideological political report to Sunday world gossip, because that's what they thrive on. And we know what is the relationship of Sunday world, its owners and Mbuyiseni and Ndlozi. We don't want to talk about it. Don't push us. Don't push us. We know Mbuyiseni and Ndlozi's friendship with the owner of Sunday world. And by that extension, we know his relationship with Sunday world, which we can easily describe without any fear. No one can do anything about it. No one. I spoke about all the officials. There's another problem of factionalism and selective hearing. I thanked the national chairperson. I thanked the officials. I thanked the national chairperson, and I thanked the DSG. Then I mentioned, I went into town about the SG, and I went to town about the TG. So to say I didn't thank them, it's dishonest. You know, I mentioned them. Yes. Even my family, I mentioned it in passing. You wanted me to mention it in detail and call them by name. Malema, I said my family. And then in the family, I went out to thank my wife. But you can't come here and say I didn't thank my family. So, as you speak, there's areas where you put emphasis on. And you guys, I don't know why you're being like this, because I thought you'll be feeling sorry for yourself. Because I was there speaking to you for 3 hours, 40 minutes. You want to add another 2 names. You must know each name is a minimum of 10 minutes. So every time you say you didn't include what you must know, it's likely to take 40 minutes, that subject alone. So if you wanted me to just go to town about everyone, would have taken the whole day with CCT members, because if I go to town with all of you here, then another question is going to be, we heard you about officials, but what about CCT members? Are you not happy with them? I thanked them. Thanked the ground forces. And then someone's going to say, why not thanking Vuyana? For what? No, everyone was covered. SG, I don't know if there's something you can do.
Thanks, President. Let me deal with the issue of the credentials, because I know you are interested in this afternoon's program, so you want to start doing the numbers. So the confirmed delegates that are voting delegates in this conference, it's 2,243. Remember, we explained the delegation that is non-voting. We've taken you through that. So the voting delegates expected is 2,243. The delegates that are present is 2,026, which accounts for 90% of the delegates. So the 217 delegates that are not here, they've got various issues, funerals, family commitments. Some of them, especially in the Eastern Cape, you know that there are a lot of traditional ceremonies, so those things that are important. But all of them, there's no delegate that is not accounted for, even in terms of apologies. They are members of the EFF. The guidelines that were adopted by the CCT in August, that has brought us here, the Third National People's Assembly guidelines, says that for the conference to have a quorum and be able to proceed, it needs physical presence of the delegates of minimum 50%, plus one. So meaning that for us to proceed, we needed to have 1,122 delegates in this assembly. As things stand now, we are sitting at 2,026 delegates, which is 90%. And by the way, you can go and check all other conferences. For you to get 90% attendance of delegation, it's a show of a strong, solid, organized organization. The normal you get is 65%. If you did well, it's 70%. You can go and check in the other parties. So for us to get 90%, we're very proud of that. It shows that there's clear organization coming from branches, the regions, they knew where are these delegates, the provinces, they went to account and fetch all these delegates to make sure that all of them, they are here and they are present. So we're very happy just with that attendance, and it shows that our delegates, our structures, they are committed to the survival and the life and the growth of this organization. I think that was all that I wanted to clarify. The rest, President dealt with it.
The post-matric.
Yeah, the qualification to stand, which will, the constitutional amendment will deal with that. It's a post-matric qualification because we need to produce a society of educated people, and leaders must lead by example. But post-matric does not mean necessarily matric. It means any other thing that is equivalent to matric and beyond. We're not going to have illiterate leaders. Zuma should have actually been a good example why we don't need such things. So you must look at Zuma and say something like this, it must never happen again. And the ANC is about to commit a similar mistake because it looks like they want Mbalula. So we're not part of that. We want to give to society the best in society. So the EFF has been in existence for 11 years. If you are a ground force of the EFF, why have you not been to school? Because the EFF prides itself in Sifunda Genkana. You even go around talk about it yourself, but you never funded anywhere Genkana. So Sifunda Genkana should have meant members of the EFF who come from poor family backgrounds are the ones that are going to be joining that struggle so that they have access to education. So there's no one here who can come and say, we never had an opportunity to go to school. If you say that, you are arguing like my mother, and you are so young to be my mother. Go to school. It's not late. But there are old people in the EFF, Abu Mam Kaula, Mam Sonti, Abu Kalniaus, and what. You know that these ones have received a certificate of life. They are fine. Because you can't say to those who go to school. They were denied an opportunity to go to school. Those are the people who were denied the opportunity to go to school. We were not denied. We can't blame Bantu education and what. You know, the question was asked by Mawandoro. It can't be correct that you are a councillor of the EFF for 5 years and you don't have matric. And in all the councils, they offer bursaries for councillors. A privilege that we don't have. You don't use it. You don't do anything about it to personally develop yourself. You go to a legislature, you don't have matric. You do nothing about it. Yet there are bursaries in the legislature. There are bursaries, national chair in parliament. You have no reason. I know there's some university here, regenesis working. Everybody who pass out, namu waritsi who pass out, koro pala wapala like regenesis. Unobana batho ba graduate ba re o ke kae ba re regenesis and bana ba ma counselor in particular they are graduating in the regenesis. I must check this regenesis or what is the story there. So it can't be comrades, all of us, journalists, members of society, political analysts, on this point we have to agree that people must go to school. There are a lot of opportunities available for people to go to school. That should be something that unites all of us. That should be one thing that should not even make us fight about it. Unless it's an exceptional case which people will come and present it and say, but yeah, this is the story, this is this. But other than that, at the first interaction with everything else should be school. Should be school. And we are not ashamed of that policy. And I don't see the MPA rejecting going to school. I don't see that. You know, there are comrades who were supposed to be MMCs. They couldn't be because they didn't have matric. We refused. We refused. And in the EFF, before you become an MMC, we interview you. And the latest, we have introduced the cameras to record you when we interview you, because when they don't pass the interview, they go around talking bad about the EFF. So once you talk bad, we release your interview so that people can hear what were we dealing with. You say to a person who wants to be MMC of transport, what does JMPD stands for? And he has been there. It's not a new councillor. He has been there. He doesn't know nothing. Even that J of Johannesburg, I see. Or no Johannes. What? Aye. And then we must take those people to council to service the people of Johannesburg. We must take our people very seriously. Because one delegate yesterday in the discussion stood up and said, what are you guys saying about these councillors who were there for the past 5 years? They are almost closing now. They've never uttered a word. Bangene council basela amanzi nje. Babulisa mayor, babulisa speaker, bathatha isithombe. And that's it. So it amounts to exactly what we are talking about. Uzothetha ngantoni asakwazi ukufunda. Structures Act, Municipal Structures Act, Municipal Financial Management Act. You will hear things there. And you're dealing with criminal syndicate of service providers and municipal managers. The real items are put in the middle of a thick document. Pagination, what? Agreed. A pagination, you don't know what they're talking about. Tomorrow you wake up, but no, the electricity has increased. Municipality has increased electricity. Where did we do that? We never did that. But not the previous councillor. No one said that, but when they said pagination 3, that's where that thing was. He says, never read a document. But to take people to school and to force people to go to school is the preparation to govern. You can't govern with illiterate people. So we're preparing the best of the best in society. And I liked one suggestion yesterday. They said, we must, as the EFF, take a deliberate decision that every year we're taking so many people to school from amongst fighters. Or in this province, 110. In this province, 110. Then take them to school. I found that thing to be very progressive. Thanks, Somlo.
Thank you, President. Let's go to row 2 from the front. Tato will take the mic. Can I get hands? 1, remember your number. 2, we have 2 questions. So let's also take row 3 at the same time. BJ? Oh, So you're number 3. So let's, number 3. Okay. And then let's go to row number 4 quickly. We're going to wrap up, members of the media. We have a conference. And then business day number 4, number 5. Anyone in row number 6? So we have 5. Let's go. Hand number 1. Power.
Good morning, Nkosinathi Shazi from Power FM News. I just have one question to the EFF leader, Mr. Julius Malema. How tough of a task does the new incoming deputy president of the EFF have in terms of steering the ship of the organization? Now, of course, the former deputy president, Floyd Shivambu, who you said led the infiltration within the EFF, has obviously switched sides to Umkhonto weSizwe. So if re-elected, which looks very likely, re-elected for your 3rd term, what type of a deputy would you want to serve next to you if re-elected for the next 5 years? Ngiyabonga.
Thank you. Number 2.
Very good morning, Buleli Treaty Jones from ENCA. I just wanted to ask around the dispute process. How will that unfold if there are any disputes that arise? Number 2, to the Commander-in-Chief of the EFF, the pressing matters for the EFF when you go into commissions, what are some of the important things that you would want to see being discussed? Issues of the organization, challenges, and of course, rebuilding. And then yesterday in your political report, you spoke about how the regional structures need to give birth to organic leaders. Is this something that you envisage should be emphasized more? You speak about some councillors who really are not doing their work in their communities or not serving their communities. Is this an issue that you want to look into further, the issue of structures in the organization? Thank you.
Number 3. Over here, Tata.
Good morning. I'm Anissa Isaac from Radio Islam International. I have 2 questions. The first one is to the CIC. What lessons has the EFF drawn from its 11-year journey, and how will these inform the party's strategy for the 2025 local elections? And then also, if you could elaborate for us the EFF solidarity with Palestine, which we know is very clear, but what tangible actions will the party push for in the parliament to cut ties with Israel? Thank you.
Thank you. Number 4.
Good morning. My name is Thando Mayeko from the Business Day. This is for the CIC. Making reference to your political report, which was delivered yesterday, you mentioned how the EFF has had difficulty in raising funds from potential donors, particularly, among other things, because of fear of victimization and public perception of the EFF, which has diminished and has turned people away from actually donating to the party. How do you remedy this? In terms of how do you make the EFF attractive to potential donors, especially amid the emergence of new political rivalries, which you called political startups yesterday? Is it a legislative issue or is it a perception issue?
Thank you. And then number 5.
Good morning to the panel. I'm Itumele Mafisa from The Citizen. I would like to ask about the foreign policy. The EFF has been criticized for its foreign policy, and in light of the decline in the election votes and being at this policy here, will the EFF consider maybe rethinking its foreign policy in terms of foreign nationals? Thank you.
Thank you, and that's the wrap.
There's one more.
Did I say 6? I had only written down 5 here, but let's go.
Anastasia Mkhobu, Jacaranda FM News. SG, if you can just clarify around the rules around the nomination. can a candidate accept nomination if they are not present, perhaps through a written letter if they are a voting candidate? And number two, just around the members who have been expelled, suspended, or moved from structures over the years, have you perhaps received any letters or appeals from those who want to come back? And I know that commissions will be sitting later. Are perhaps any communications around working around changing the rules or amending to allow those who want to come back in the future? Thank you.
Thank you. President, are you going first?
Yeah. I will not deal with the issue of the DP because if I say this is the kind of a person, then I'm going to be accused of preference. That in his characterization of what he views as a good DP, you can see he's talking about so and so. So, Agnes, leave me out of that one. Dispute, I don't know if you're referring to electoral disputes. If it's electoral dispute, there is electoral committee that was adopted yesterday, chaired by Advocate Tembega Ndlozi, SC, and with all other independent members of that committee. So anyone who feels that things were not run properly, you can go to them. We all know Tembega Ndlozi is a man of integrity. And then under them, there will be ASA. ASA is the one that will be doing EMSA. EMSA will be the one that will be doing technical stuff, like taking the literal nominations, counting seconders, and then where there's a contest, prepare ballot paper, prepare voting station, and all of that. So, but they are the people who oversee them politically is the electoral committee. So we have electoral committee and electoral commission. And the electoral commission is led by Terry. Yeah, Terry, who used to be in the IEC. And I'm happy the discussion yesterday, last night was. We seem to have consensus, but it will be subjected to Commission's outcome about doing away with regional structures because they are of no value to us. You know, in the EFF, there is a policy that says people will be deployed into councils according to the number of votes they got from their wards as ward candidates. Then people are being lined up according to their votes and all of that. But there is a person here called the regional chairperson. But no, regional chairperson is not in that group. How did he become a regional chairperson? He can't qualify to even be a ward candidate. I bet there are people, you know, from the province we took, 5, the region, 2, and then we said the rest of other leaders, they must go to their branches and be nominated from their branches. They could not be nominated by their branches. But when the time goes to go to the legislature, they want to be the first ones, but they can't be trusted by their own branch. Why? Because there are people who have mastered factionalism. They just know that side, you talk to that one, that side. The next thing you become a regional chair or secretary. And then they serve as gatekeepers. So let there be sub-regional structures. Pulugwane sub-region deals with Pulugwane branches. They know each other. They don't have to deal with someone from Boloberg they've never seen. What is their regional leader? This one. And they must elect from amongst themselves who's going to lead their sub-region. So that is making the EFF to be a mass organization and closer to the people. And that will do. Palestine, we've already started with Palestine. We wrote a letter, National Chair, if I'm not wrong, to the Speaker as to what happened to this matter, the resolution of Parliament. So we have started a process to make sure that that process must be followed up, and we are going to do that. The lessons we have learned is that we have to be on the ground and not rely, again, these regimes come and give you supernatural reports, some imagination, and say this is perfect. Yeah, we've got this, yeah, we've got that. The ground is fertile, too much lying. And then the branches say, you see these people of region 111, we never get to see them. We see them when a national leader is coming. That's when they come. But what is worse is that they live with the national leader when the national leader leaves. So the sub-regional person will live to it. He can't go anywhere, he stays here. Even if he wants to leave, he stays here. He has to do his work or her work. So those are the lessons that we just have to engage in honesty and hard work. Donors, you know, business people support people on the basis of what they stand to benefit from those people. So when they see the EFF as being, you know, one of the possible government in this or that, they come and tell you all manner of things, how they support you, how they do. When you experience a slight decline, they disappear. Or, it looks like this man will never come back because these people are not going to become anything. But those are possibly the corrupt ones who align with the EFF on the basis of what they want to get. Then you've got business people who fund the EFF who want to control your life, not even EFF. They want to choose curtains for your house. You know, my wife chooses very nice curtains. Let's ask her to go and choose curtains for your house. But I've got a wife. What is she going to say? I bring some wife to come and choose curtains. And then, if they can't find a way in controlling your life, then they leave. They disappear. They leave you. Then you've got genuine business people who support, who are like, we are into this mission. One of the business people said to me, you know, these people who just disrupted EFF, they don't know how much they are hating us because this is a generational mission. Like, we're part of this. We are not politicians, but we're looking up to this day. And then when you start to do the things he's doing, we don't have any other way to go now. So you can hear this man just loves EFF and wants to see it succeed and all of that. And when you check, he doesn't do any work with the EFF or any municipality. They do their own things wherever they do their thing. So, and then you've got those who are scared to be victimized. Scared to be victimized because they trade with the state. There's no one, by the way, who doesn't trade with the state. The biggest partner of business is the state. Even Johan Rupert does business with the state. That's why he wants IPPs and power purchase agreement from the state. So there's no even the Oppenheimers do business with the state because they must get their mining license from the state. So these ones who support us are just small fishes, chef, who are doing business with the state. And then if they are caught, they get victimized. I mean, there was a long list that was read in public about business people who are doing business in Gauteng who attended the EFF dinner. Trying to intimidate people by virtue of their association. The Political Party Funding Act was enacted by the Oppenheimer family. It was sponsored by them. They said, let's impose a minimum requirement for political parties to receive funding from private individuals. And then anyone who gives 100,000 must be declared, with an intention that anyone who gives 100,000 to the EFF is going to be targeted by SARS, by all manner of things, and gets destroyed. But they knew they were going to give as many millions as possible and nothing will happen to them. I don't think the Oppenheimer family pays tax. I'm telling you, who in SARS is going to make them pay tax? Because they will fire you the following day. I don't think they pay tax. But because you have access to ask anyone questions, and which must be a parliamentary questions, TG, we must ask the SARS, does the Oppenheimer family, their trusts and everything, pay tax? SARS is going to say we can't disclose such information, which is good, but once they receive that letter, they know, yes, it looks like we're about to be exposed that these people don't pay tax. They're so in charge of everything, everything. There is a woman here in Santen, I don't know, I forgot her name, a white lady. Is a founder of Musima Imani. She owns that hotel called Hilton Hotel in Santen. It's now called what? That hotel? NH. She's the biggest funder. She even went to people who support the EFF to ask them to put their money on Musima Imani. That's how much she believes in him. She put so much money in Musima Imani and got 2 seats. It must be expensive, man, to be a member of parliament. The money that Musi was given, he will never receive it back in terms of his own salary and the party funding from IEC, from legislation. By the time 5 years finish, he will still have not collected the money they gave him, those people. That's how much that thing was useless. That party which was formed and never qualified to get 1,000 signatures. Change. You never speak about it. Change got 30 million by the bosses of South Africa. And they know no one can question them. Why do you give a non-existing political party 30 million? Now that this party has not registered, how are you going to recover that money? The party is not registered. 35 million. The party is not registered. What did they do with that money? It was pure money laundering. Pure money laundering. No one is investigating that. No SARS is investigating that. They are all looking at who's funding the EFF. When we do financial declarations, we say we have nothing to declare. Action SA is the first one, loudmouth. Yeah, it's under declaring. Look at their events. Hey, my guy, we are very calculative. We say to our people, don't donate more than 100,000. Donate 99,000. So that we don't have to disclose you to these fools who are targeting us. And you can't say we're doing anything illegal. It's not illegal, it's a law. If they say you must drive 120 and you find me driving 110, you can't give me a ticket and say, yes, 120, yes, 120. You are breaking the law. We are not breaking any law. are outmaneuvering the system which seeks to undermine us. They are better at their game. Renor fair 99,000. If we only 200,000, if Hawola are fair 99,000, Ola are donated. That's it. We're fighting with Political Funding Act. If these people were really for democracy, which analysts will say no, but this is for democracy, people must be held accountable for who finances them and all of that. Why are we not telling these people if it's for democracy? Why are they not taking this 35 million of change, 15 million of Musima money, 250 million of DA, this 350 million of ANC? Take all of it and go and put it in a political party. Democracy Fund of the IEC. There's a party democracy fund of the IEC. So that if you are not buying votes and you are not politically aligned and you pretend to be supporting democracy, take your money and go and put it in the solidarity fund of the IEC. Then the IEC will distribute that money proportional. They will never do it because they don't believe in the political funding act, party funding act. They don't believe in that act. That's why they don't take money to the IEC. Don't give the EFF money. Don't give anyone money. Give it to the IEC. IEC has got the best systems to distribute that money. My money is going to go to the EFF. But the problem is that the EFF is part of democratic institutions of South Africa. Our democracy is a multi-party democracy. You may not like it, but it is what it is. It will never change. So that thing is a fraud. It's a fraud engineered by white monopoly capital to undermine the parties that they don't want to succeed. So EFF has to survive through creative means that will not compromise it to raise the funds. And we must never be a burden of some business people who think that they can belittle you, they can control your life. If you have a mqimbi at home, you don't call them, it's a big problem. If you are building a house, you don't tell them, it's a big problem. If you have a birthday of your husband, you don't tell, they want to be controlling your life and doing all manner of things. They don't like independent people. I once met a business person, and anyway, I knew business people speak a lot. So when I went there, this guy wants to address me like Zuma was addressing those people when they were trying to collapse the EFF. For a very long time, but I was so patient, I listened. When he finishes, then I started speaking. Rich guy, rich, monies. He interjects me, and I knew, see, this is people of money. I mean, he spoke throughout. I'm just responding 2 minutes into my response. He's already interjecting me. Then I stopped, and then he spoke another more minutes. Then it was my turn to respond. He interjected me. For sure, he was seeing me. Of course, we were meeting for the first time. He didn't know the character. He thought this character is just for TV. When he interjected me for the second time, I said, I'm talking, Mos. I'm talking. I'm not here to listen to you. I'm talking. You spoke, I speak. We respect each other like that. I saw him for the last time that day. There was never a follow-up because he wanted to treat me the way they treat these ANC politicians. They can call you to their houses to come take pictures with their children. Yeah. They can tell you, no, bring the family, must eat samosa. What? You eat even things you don't eat because we are tambelage and jote. Maybe we not told us something. Thank you. You're scared to ask a question. What foreign policy? He's talking about Africa, borderless Africa. Yes, and then that's not foreign policy. That is internal. What do you call it? Continent. No, our own policy here. And that policy doesn't come from us. It comes from Africans themselves, who have never had borders. I've never created borders. I cannot be responsible for borders. Decoloniality means that you do away with the things that were imposed on us by colonizers. You can't say we don't want colonizers, but we want borders. What type of an argument is that? We need a borderless Africa the same way we have a borderless Europe. We're not asking for something that is not done somewhere in the world. We need free movement of goods and persons. But those people must be documented. We say to South Africans, take IDs. How do you say to South Africans they must take IDs and then other people must not have documents? No one must move in South Africa or Africa without documents, so that we can locate you if there is a problem. So, if you are worried about the criminality, you are worried about drugs, you are worried about this and that, why are you not supporting that we must document everybody? Let's document them. Let's document them. All of us here, when we drive, when they stop you, they ask you to produce a driver's license. Produce your document. You never have a problem with that. Once police or law enforcement sees something suspicious, what was that? Mabambiri, where are the papers? I am from Zanini. You know from Zanini, where ID something. Where is the stuff? Police must have a right to randomly stop and search anyone. And when you are not documented, they must arrest you and go and document you. In that way, there won't be people who are roaming our streets here without documents, because that puts the life of South Africans in danger, and it puts the life of asylum seekers' lives in danger as well, including our own tourists. But the problem is that when we speak about borderless Africa, we're thinking about these black people and all of that. There are a lot of illegal immigrants here in South Africa who are white people. Many of them are found in Cape Town. One of them stupidly the other day tweeted that I came to Cape Town for tourism 6 months. I can't believe I even stayed for more than 12 months. It's so nice. This thing can hear that he's saying it's illegal in the country, but it doesn't apply to white people. There was never an outrage on Twitter that she doesn't have visa. Her visa is expired. Had a black person said that, or my brother, the way is so nice here in Hillborough. I didn't even renew my visas. Or was it here in South Africa? No visa, no nothing. You will go home the following day. Our own people will go hunting for that person. What I saw and saw. This way stays. Police must go. But I looked at that thing of that white lady with interest, and I wanted to see what is going to be the reaction. Nothing. Disappeared. Thanks.
SG?
We have a conference.
Okay. That's a wrap. Thank you, officials. Let's release.
Respond.